This morning I'd like to do another Bob Newhart piece. This is another favourite of mine, but this you'll need to again imagine the year is 1955 or roundabouts then, maybe 56 now. Yes, this one's slightly different, no phone calls. Yeah, but, yes. So without any further ado, we have a show in Chicago called The Silent Service, and it's about the submarines in peace and war, and they had one on about 2 weeks ago now, and it was about a U.S. submarine that went around the world for 2 years and didn't pull into port. It was sort of like an endurance test for the sailors to see how they would react under these conditions. And the whole thing was kind of summed up in the last 5 minutes even, by the captain of the submarine, and he gave an address that went something like this. Men, I know you're all anxious to be reunited with your loved ones, in some cases your wives, but we just have a few minutes now before we pull into port, and I'd like to take this opportunity to say a few words that I feel are kind of important. I wouldn't take the time if I didn't. First of all, I think we ought to give the cooks a standing ovation for the wonderful job that they've done. So do you might want to stand now and let's really hear it for the cooks. I don't know how many men realize this, but what a difficult job it is aboard a submarine for... Do you men want to stand now and hear it for the cooks? Come on, man, let's let bygones be bygones, and let's really hear it for the cooks. You know, I'm not going to surface until I hear it for the cooks. Okay, that's a little better. Today, as we add another glorious chapter to the history of the USS Codfish, I think it's important that we reflect on some of the past glories of the Codfish. I don't know how many of you men know this, but the Codfish holds the record for the most Japanese tonnage sunk, comprising of 5 freighters and 15 aircraft carriers. It's a truly enviable record. Unfortunately, they were sunk in 1954, but it remains the largest peacetime tonnage ever sunk. Our voyage has got a lot of coverage in the press, and I'd like to present our side of it. I think our firing on Miami Beach can best be termed ill-timed. It happened on what they call in the newspaper business a slow news day, and so it got a lot more coverage than I think it deserved, since it was the off-season down there. I think you men will agree that I've been pretty lax as far as discipline is concerned, and golly, nobody enjoys a joke more than I do. But I'd like the executive officer returned, please. I mean, we've looked in the torpedo tubes, so we've looked in your bags. It's been over 2 weeks now, man. We're just damn lucky it wasn't someone like the navigation officer, or someone who's real important like that, you know. Looking back on the mutiny, I think part of the problem came from the fact that you men were coming to me with your problems. As I've said many times, the door to my office is always open. I think you know why it's always open. That was stolen. I'd like that returned. It looks like it's the work of the same guy. But since we started the cruise on such a low note, I think it's important that we try to end it now on a high note. And to me, there is nothing more impressive in the Navy than as a submarine breaks water, for all the sailors in their dress blues to come out of that a hole there, and come to a parade dress. To me, there is nothing more impressive in the Men, I've just now been notified that in a few minutes we will shortly be surfacing, and you'll be pleased to know that you'll be gazing on the familiar skyline of either New York City or Buenos Aires. Was that? I didn't quite. Dismiss, man. Okay.